What if, right now, gravity, the invisible force holding you, me, oceans, cities, and even the atmosphere, suddenly vanished? One second you're sitting in your chair, the next, you and everything around you are drifting helplessly into the sky. No warning, no escape. Just weightless chaos. What happens to Earth when gravity turns off? The first second would feel strange, almost like a dream. Your coffee cup floats upward, papers rise off the desk, your own body lifts from the floor. But within moments, fear sets in. Cars, buildings, and people would all begin drifting into the air. Entire cities would lift off their foundations. Skyscrapers would shatter as their steel beams ripped upward, pulled by nothing but momentum. The world would become a giant cloud of debris spinning out of control. But gravity doesn't just keep us on the ground, it holds the oceans too. Without it, the seas would lift like a massive curtain, water peeling away from Earth's surface. Tsunamis wouldn't crash down anymore. Instead, the oceans themselves would rise into the sky, breaking apart into colossal floating spheres of water. Fish, whales, and ships would be trapped inside these drifting bubbles, suspended like ornaments in space. For humanity, it would be a death sentence. And what about the air? Without gravity, even the atmosphere would not stay loyal to Earth. Within minutes, the air we breathe would begin escaping into space. At first, you'd feel short of breath, gasping as the oxygen thinned. Within hours, Earth would be a suffocating, airless world. Unless you were sealed inside a pressurized bunker or wearing a spacesuit, you'd simply choke in the emptiness. But the nightmare doesn't stop there. Gravity is what keeps the moon orbiting Earth and Earth orbiting the sun. If gravity suddenly switched off everywhere, the moon would fly off into the void like a stone thrown from a sling. Earth itself would no longer circle the sun. Instead, it would drift aimlessly into the cold, dark galaxy. Within weeks, temperatures would plummet, crops would die. Oceans, if any water remained, would freeze solid. The last survivors would huddle around artificial heat, trapped on a planet slowly becoming a frozen tomb. In the chaos of those first few minutes, survival would be impossible. Airplanes would lose lift, not because they crash, but because there'd be no air to glide through. Satellites and space stations would drift uncontrolled. Even your own body fluids would begin to boil and expand as pressure vanished. Humans were never meant for a world without gravity. Yet, strangely, the absence of gravity would create sights unlike anything ever seen. Imagine looking up and seeing continents breaking apart, mountains slowly lifting, and entire oceans floating like shimmering planets above the ground. The night sky would glow with reflections from countless water spheres, glass towers of frozen ice, and clouds of shattered cities. It would be horrifying and breathtaking. Civilization, of course, would collapse instantly. Power grids, transportation, communication, all systems depend on gravity's stability. Panic would spread, but there'd be nowhere to run. Governments would lose control. Religion and myth would surge as people tried to explain the impossible. Some would call it divine punishment, others the end of the universe itself. And maybe they'd be right. Because here's the truth. Without gravity, the universe as we know it doesn't exist. Stars collapse into themselves because of gravity. Galaxies are born because of it. Even time itself, in Einstein's theory, is shaped by the warping of space under gravity's pull. Take it away, and not just Earth, but the entire fabric of the cosmos would unravel into chaos. So, the next time you drop a glass and curse gravity for breaking it, remember this. That same invisible force is the only reason the oceans stay on Earth, the air stays in your lungs, and our planet keeps circling the sun instead of drifting into eternal night. Gravity may feel like a burden, but it is also the glue holding everything you love together. If it ever turned off tomorrow, you wouldn't be free. You'd be lost forever in the endless dark. So what do you think?
Would humanity find a way to survive in a weightless world? Or is gravity the single thread holding life itself in place? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And tonight, when you stand on solid ground, take a moment to thank the invisible force keeping you here before you imagine what happens if it ever lets go.